So, today's discussion, I was called to talk about a brief session on how technology is today empowering the e-commerce businesses. Just as an introduction, myself, Kapil Makhija, I'm the CEO of Unicommerce. Unicommerce is India's largest e-commerce focused SaaS platform, which caters to 20% of India's e-commerce volumes, about 1.5 million plus transactions a day, amounting to $5 billion of GMV. And having worked with 15,000 plus businesses over the last 9 years, we have also sort of built a playbook of understanding how technology is helping different e-commerce businesses. And from those learnings, we thought we will share a gist of our learnings over these last 9 years. Next slide, please. So we would like to classify the intervention of technology in e-commerce in three different legs, and we believe the technology is building or bringing in efficiency at every step. The first step we call it as pre-purchase, where a brand is trying to engage with a potential consumer, uh, getting traffic onto their website or any buying platform. The second part is the purchase journey. Once the potential consumer has landed on the website, how do we make that entire purchase journey easy for them? Again, powered by technology. And finally, once the customer has made the purchase, there is a whole post purchase journey, which is not very often talked about, uh, but that is increasingly becoming important, especially in an era when the consumers are demanding faster delivery, the right lower returns, the right product coming to them, and gives a brand a leverage to be able to connect better with the customers. So we will be covering these three legs separately and share our learnings from what we have seen in the ecosystem in e-commerce. Next slide, please. Thank you. On the pre-purchase journey, I think the biggest lever for which technology is being leveraged is to increase the reach and also improve the traffic on the website. Um, Ultimately, trying to build a sustainable brand online and optimizing the CAC, which is a cost of acquiring a customer. And the more optimum technology tools are used to be able to get the right kind of traffic, it enables that your overall unit economics for the brand improve. It is becoming more and more relevant because we've seen a flurry of launches in D2C, where we've got a lot of brands coming in. And thus, it is becoming important that the brands have to stand out and get noticed, because ultimately it's different sets of brands vying for the same consumer. Hence, targeting the right potential customer or traffic becomes very important, because if you're just doing broad-based marketing, then it would mean a lot of investment, but may not result in desired outcomes for the brand. So, what technology helps is making these focused communication, refine your messaging. We call this ideal customer profile. So, the brands have to be very clear on what the ideal customer is who will be purchasing this, and do targeted communication for these ideal customer profiles. And that's where technology helps to do that at scale for a particular brand. So, we have to identify the right customers and enable the brands to engage with them meaningfully. So, that's what technology can enable. Some of the interventions that we've seen, the large brands that we are working with, many D2C brands, what we've seen work for them is they first have very clear messaging, because of which they're able to do a very focused communication to the niche customers that are very relevant, or probably the ideal customer profile that I talked about. Once that messaging is clear, they're able to use technology to optimize the ad spends. Today, ad spends are probably one of the highest components in the marketing spends or cost to acquire a customer. So, how much to spend on Google, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and there are different platforms which you can use to market the brand. But there are certain brands which work on certain platforms very well, depending on where the customers are. So, technology can help figure out which are the right channel mixes for them to scale up the brand. And finally, these tools can also be used to re-engage or remarket to existing customers, to do repeat purchases, to do upsell, cross-sell once they are on the website. So we've listed some of the tools, some of the larger ones, and there are also many startups that are coming up in this domain. In terms of the impact, obviously, results in higher customer reach, particularly more relevant ones, so that the targeting can be more effective. Again, optimized customer acquisition cost that we talked about. The brand positioning also improves a lot, because the customer gets an aha moment where they get a very targeted and focused messaging, which addresses their specific needs, and hence the view of the brand in the minds of consumers increases significantly. They are able to relate much more to the brand, and hence there are higher chances of them converting to the purchase funnel. And obviously through the remarket and retargeting, we are able to also improve the repeat customer rate. These are some of the interventions. This is by no means an exhaustive list. There are a lot more interventions, a lot of things that technology is helping power this particular leg, and we are seeing a lot of action on the marketing automation side for specific niches depending on where the consumers are. But we thought that over the last few years, so some of the best practices that we've seen, we've tried to put them in this leg. Moving on to the next leg, which is the purchase journey. So here, once the potential consumer is there on the website, what interventions can technology help to convert it into a purchase? We've seen from our experience and from like talking to different brands, and there are certain studies also, that the conversion of traffic to purchase is in early single digits. In a recent study, it was about like about 2 to 3% is what we've seen. Typically, a website traffic converting into an actual purchase on a D2C website. And that's where technology becomes very important, because you've been able to spend a lot to get the right traffic on your platform, but it has to be coupled with the right experience that you provide to these potential consumers to be able to convert them as consumers, or to help them try your product. So there are interventions that we've seen around reducing cart abandonment, and also giving them a fast checkout experience through a one-click checkout, address verification, pre-filled fields, etc. So you're able to give a seamless and a fast, error-free buying experience. Your positioning, the content on your website, all of these also play a lot of role. So we've listed some of the solutions where the standard off-the-shelf solutions like Shopify, Magento, etc. can work, but there are also content-led solutions on top of it. There's also conversational commerce powered by WhatsApp, or layers on top of WhatsApp, which actually help build stronger engagement. And along with the right content on the website, the right display, the right channel for communication, it's also important to have a seamless payment and a return mechanism, so that the customer gets a lot of confidence having to when they're interacting with the brand. So whatever messaging that was given while trying to get them on the website itself should be consistent with the messaging which brought the potential customer. So all of those elements also become important. So in terms of technology doing interventions, they help simplify the engagement process with the potential customer, and gives the brand the freedom to interact with the customer in the way that the customer is looking for. So they prefer chat, they can chat, they prefer voice calling. Those things can be powered through technology, and also obviously simplifying the payment processes, and also the overall purchase friction to be reduced through some of the interventions that we have mentioned. And in many of the brands that we work with some of these interventions, what we've seen is that because of all these technology solutions that are available, we have seen the leadership at these brands is been able to free up their bandwidth to focus on core business, the messaging that I talked about. They have to be very clear on what the brand stands for, and ensuring that in whatever touch points the consumer interacts with the brand, those messages are reinforced. Focus on improving the customer experience, as well as they're able to, through these technology solutions, have many more options available for them to be able to have a personalized engagement or relationships with their customers. And obviously, as the overall process becomes seamless, the credibility of the customer on the brand further improves. And as I said, as long as the messaging and the experience while purchase is consistent, the credibility of the brand improves significantly. Now, at this stage, the customer has bought the product, or at least paid, or at least placed the order for the product. Now, the real journey starts, which is the post-purchase experience. If you can move to the next slide, please. So here, I think, as I mentioned, it's not very often talked about, but it is becoming a clear differentiator now in terms of having a long-term relationship with your consumers. Because until the time the customer pressed the button to place an order, it was a promise that the brand made in their messaging, which got them to the website, and again while placing the order. Now, the post-purchase experience stands for whether the brand could actually deliver the promise that they have made so far in terms of the product, the packaging, the delivery experience. And that's why it becomes important that they have to have use technology to ensure a faster and error-free delivery, and also give them a seamless return experience in case the product hasn't matched their expectations. So, and there are again different nuances in the post-purchase journey. So there is the brand or the seller has to manage the inventory, the orders that are coming in from different customers, tie up with the last mile delivery so that the delivery can happen on time, outsource the warehousing operations to fulfillment providers, or even manage returns. And there are again different technology providers, including ourselves, which are in the post-purchase journey, which can improve the overall engagement between the brand and the customer. Because as I mentioned, this is the time, and any errors in the experience handling of the customer during this kind of negates the overall promise that has been built by the brand, because of which the customer placed the order for the first time. And if this leg is also consistent with the messaging, I think it leads to a much higher repeat purchase rate. It definitely leads to an aha moment. Today, brands or consumers are demanding, at least in the metro cities, demanding higher or much shorter delivery times, even less than 24 hours, even in discretionary categories like fashion and accessories, etc. Hence, it has become very important to leverage technology to be able to power this, because without technology, manually, a brand can scale up to a certain level, but they cannot optimize the engagement with the customers for long term if they were not using technology at every level. And there are simple nuances, right? A customer today wants to know where the order is, at what stage. Um, in fact, I think 60% of customer queries today are about the current order status. And just by simple technology interventions, is providing them the status or an Amazon like experience on the website where at every leg you get an update where the order is, so that you're not left in the blind, can significantly cut down the customer queries and also improve their experience, because it also is a hassle for them to keep calling the support to know the status of their order. So there are simple interventions through technology that can be done. So it first of all, it not only improves the customer engagement, more importantly for the brand, it leads to a lot of efficiency. You can uh, optimize your inventory utilization. You do not need to stock inventory, large amounts of inventory, to be able to serve the customer demand. You can do that with a much lower inventory level, but better technology interventions, which give you insights on where the customers are shopping, which areas are the shopping, what products are working well, and keep those inventory closer to those customers, through which you can actually build the whole inventory network map, which can be optimizing the working capital that they have. Through technology, obviously, you can lower your manpower expense that is going in and fulfilling the operations. And ultimately, through all these interventions, you will be able to win the customers for life. After the first few experiences, the trust of the consumer and the brand will continue to improve. And through these simple technology interventions, you will be able to have a much higher lifetime value from a single customer, thereby improving the unit economics of your overall business. So all these three legs go hand in hand: the pre-purchase, purchase, and post-purchase experience. And different technology interventions can help at an overall level drive three things. One, free up the bandwidth of the management and the leadership to actually focus on core business growth and driving the overall growth of the revenue. The second is build a deeper relationship with the customer where the messaging is consistent in all levels. And finally, the third point is optimize your overall business processes so that they can operate at scale. Irrespective of the revenue range, you are at least better prepared for the future. So those are some of our learnings that we have seen in our journey, and how technology is helping e-commerce businesses. I hope it was of use, and happy to answer any questions that anyone may have at this point of time.